What happens when the mystical energy of Neptune, the illusions, the dreams, the intuition, the subconscious, the illusion, spirituality moves from Neptune in Pisces to the fiery energy of Neptune in Aries? Aries represents the fire, the passion, the warrior. You know what I mean? Put it on the armor, whether that's a physical war or a spiritual war, but in this case, it's spiritual. All right. So before we get into it, I want to welcome y'all to my channel, Storm Crew, aka Orani Storm, checking in. For those of y'all who's coming in for the first time, welcome to my humble abode. And if you are here to transform, then you've come to the right place. For those of y'all that are returning, what it is, what's up? I hope that this video gives you the information that you need while we are going through this short transit of Neptune and Aries. Well, at least until October. I do have offerings available. We have readings available, general readings and other readings available with that link down in the description box. And I also do have courses. So we do have this subscription to Substack. It's a free subscription if you want to keep up. I try to post every week. Kind of slipped on last week, but we're going to get into it this week again. Instead of going live twice a week, I'm only going to go live once a week. I'm trying to figure out what day that's going to be. It's either going to be a Tuesday or a Thursday, but I will definitely be going live once a week so we can check in and all those great things. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. I will have timestamps also down below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. What is Neptune? What is the energy in full of Neptune and Aries? So we talked about this energy of the dreams, the illusions, compassion. This is also disillusionment, Neptune can also have this foggy, can't see the forest from the trees kind of energy. When you, it's like you're looking at it, but it's like, what am I actually really looking at? Is this Men in Black? Like, what's happening? You know what I mean? Now, if we're talking about the environment of Neptunian energy, a little thing, or the planet Neptune energy, you can also see this very cold, very icy helium, and it has no surface, no bounds. It kind of reminds me of the clouds in a sense. Very mystical, like I said, very dreamlike. It's like you're walking through, time and space, space and time, and it rules the spiritual realm. So anything that you can see in that realm is like all Neptunian things. I would even go to say that Neptune also, we could see a lot of, even though we see a lot of Saturnian things happening in this particular world, I would say this world is pretty Neptune as well too. The illusions, right? The television, Truman Show things that we see here. There's also things that we can see as well. Now, when we talk about the energy of Aries, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Oh, I also want to mention, I'm sorry, I think I heard cats. I also want to say before I get into it, Neptune rules over Pisces energy. Okay, Pisces energy is, Neptune rules over Pisces. It's his main ruler. So we've had this energy here since 2011. So look back, and I want y'all to leave in the comments down below what was happening in your life from 2011 until now. And you also want to see where Pisces is in your chart so you can see what was happening in that place in your life. And was it foggy? Well, did you feel a little fog while you was going through this Neptunian energy? I don't know. You let me know. All right. Now, in this video, we're not going to get too deep into the previous transits. I'm going to do a longer video for that, but I wanted to get this video to y'all because I was supposed to get it to y'all last week, but that eclipse in Virgo took me out. So, yeah, that Virgo eclipse took me clean out. So I wasn't able to get y'all those videos. But so again, what happens when this energy of Neptune moves into this fiery, grounded body, physical body, fiery energy of Aries? It's the war god. Aries is ruled by Mars. It's a Martian. It's weapons and the soldier. It's the knight in shining armor. Sometimes not necessarily as shiny. You know what I'm saying? It's bow and arrow man. Or woman, or whatever. It's very ambitious. It's very motivated. It's very direct, and you can also see Aries as the pioneer. Okay. So the last time we had Neptune in Aries was in the early 1800s. And we'll talk about that in a minute, a little bit about that, touch on a little bit about that in a minute. But that is when we seen, as far as we know, from what was documented in the text, okay, that's when colonization was at its prime, you know? That's when the expeditions were charted around the world. And we've seen a lot of what we're seeing today happen. World wars that were happening as well, or civil wars that were happening as well at this time. And I'm not saying that that is all this area's energy is about. We can also see things such as inventions. I mean, we have what, Pluto and Aquarius, you know what I'm saying? The mad scientist, the mind genius in the lab. And then we have Aries, which is the first. So, you know, people coming up with new ideas. Neptune also has to do with your ideas, you know? It's the ideas that you have that come in spirit and then are released into the world. So Aries gives you that passion, that fire, that drive to do something different. We are going to see a shift in the collective, y'all. You know, because Neptune, as we have been seeing, like it feels like our like we like to say, the rose-colored glasses, or it feels like the binoculars or the glasses is coming off. Like we all wiping the glasses like, wait a minute, what? You know? And they were looking around like, wait, what kind of fog have we been in for all this time, you know? Everything is starting to feel a little bit more clear, you know? And because Martian energy is fiery, you know, what does fire do? It burns, right? It cuts, you know, and severs. You know, and so now that we have this energy, like I said, in Aries, we're going to be seeing a lot more of that over the course of this year into the next coming years. This transit will be here. Let me see. Okay. This transit will be here until October. So we're going to be experiencing at the end of March in through October. And then it'll go retrograde back into Pisces. And then 2026, we'll be seeing it in full for the next 14 years. So buckle your seatbelts, folks. All right. So Neptune and Aries 2025. Neptune and Aries will be transiting from 2025 to 2039. Okay. The last time we had Neptune and Aries in this transit was 1847 to 1863. Or actually, that's Pisces. Pisces was 1847, last transit to 1863. Aries was 1861 to 1875. All right. You know, so, I mean, I know we weren't necessarily, we wasn't born in that area, but let's just think of it as maybe some of us returning back. Okay? Are you following me, picking up what I'm putting down? All right. Anyway, let's move on. So we are breaking down oppressive structures, all right, with this energy. Now, I'm hearing a lot of rhetoric, you know, in the media right now. There's a lot of people that's like, oh, well, we aren't our ancestors and we ain't this and we ain't that. Let's not get it twisted, y'all. All right? People were fighting. People were revolting. Now, I say this all to say that things were happening at this time. It's just a lot of this stuff was not documented at this time. You know, there were a lot of uprisings. There were a lot of things that were happening in the world. There were a lot of people that were, you know, trying to go against the grain and go against the system and all that kind of stuff. It was happening, y'all. You know, it just, I feel, like I said, those things weren't necessarily being completely documented, or the whole truth wasn't necessarily the whole truth, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. All right. So this is where we've seen the European colonization and industrialization of the global U.S. hemisphere, but also in other places as well, which, like I said, I'm going to do a longer video before October, and we're going to get into all of that. All right. So we can see, or we can discuss, and we can see what was happening at this time. All right. Also, too, we talk about the American Civil War here. The French Revolution was also during this time. Well, no, actually, I'm sorry. The French Revolution, Haitian Revolution was Pluto and Aquarius, and that was a little bit before. It was like early 1700s, or late 1700s into the early 1800s. So that was probably during Neptune and Pisces, but still, there was still a lot of effects from those wars into this era that we're moving into as well here. All right, so there was a lot of people fighting for their freedom. New beginnings. This was also the unification of Germany and Italy as well. And then national leaderships switching hands, powers switching hands, the visionaries and people breaking away. You know, not everybody was necessarily a part of the regime. There were also people that were living outside of and in their own spaces and community outside of the things that were going on, particularly in the US, but also globally, that we don't discuss and we talk about. Like I said, again, we will be talking about this. I will be doing a longer video on this, but I just wanted to make this an all signs video, okay? So before we go any further, let's just go ahead and jump right into it with Neptune. Like I said, I'll make a longer video that talks about this Neptune and Aries transit in full and the previous aspects that happened. So let's just jump right into it. Neptune and Aries. So Neptune in Aries in the first house for Aries rising. So this is going to be a complete transformation. First house is your physical body. You know, it's like your outlook in the ways in which you see the world. And I feel like with Neptune and Aries, there's going to be like a mystical energy that comes from like I feel like I want to say spiritual warrior here, you know, because I feel like there's going to be a lot going on, not only with your physical body, but there will also be a lot of things going on in like your dream, like your dream world and things like that. Because essentially Aries rules the head, all things of the head, nose, eyes, ears, brain, subconscious, you know what I'm saying? All of that stuff, third eye, whatever is Aries energy. So you could be experiencing a lot of downloads at this time. You could be getting a lot of information coming to you. I will say this. Just make sure that you ground. I know Saturn is also going to be on your ascendant as well soon. Make a video about that because we're going to talk about it. I'm about to be, you know, finishing my Saturn and Saturn and Pisces on my ascendant transit, so I could tell you a little bit how things might feel, things might go. It's different in Aries, but still, we'll get to it. Stay with me, stick with me, all right? There's going to be a new focus on self-identity. I feel like you'll start to really embody more of like a stronger sense of self, even though things might feel a little floaty a little bit. That's why I said you want to take some time to really ground yourself, because you could just feel a little tipsy-turvy with Neptune and Pisces, this energy here. There's also going to be, I feel like, you expressing yourself. I don't know why I'm getting a picture of somebody like playing a guitar, like a rock star. I'm not saying this is everybody that has an Aries rising, but I just see like maybe you become more passionate about the things that you believe, you know, because like I said, first house is how you see the world. So you could be passionate about the things that you believe and the things that you're speaking on. You could feel really like, honestly, what I'm getting is it's like you're being channeled, if that makes any sense. Like your higher self is speaking through you. Like your higher self is integrating with you during this transit. You know what I'm saying? If you pick what I'm putting down, please leave a comment down below. If you've already been feeling this energy, let me know. But this is some of the things that you can also be. Now, the reshaping of your identity, I want to say this before I move on. Because Neptune is here, not everything is going to feel completely clear. And you might vacillate, especially with Saturn and Aries. You might vacillate between having kind of like this soldier kind of energy. You might even start to feel old, like older. I would definitely say physical fitness is going to be your friend in any way, shape, or form. Something that works for you. It's going to have to work for you, especially being an Aries rising. Doing some type of physical activity where your body is like active and heated, I would say, is going to help you move that energy, but also at the same time ground you in your body. So if you don't already have like a physical routine or a physical activity that you're doing, I would totally recommend it, okay? Because it's going to help you on your journey, and I feel like you'll have more of a clear, you'll experience more clarity in your physical vessel, in your physical body. Okay, so that's what I have for Aries rising. Definitely leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think for this particular transit. For Neptune transiting Aries in the second house for Pisces rising. Okay, sense of value. Second house, what is second house first and foremost? It's the Taurus house. Okay, it has to do anything with material gains. It has to do with material gains, also money. This also has to do with like physical money. This has to do with your own self and personal value. This is also the things that you're actually putting into your mouth as well. Okay, Taurus, let's the taste. It's the throat chakra, right? This can have to do with your speaking voice. This can have to do with your singing voice. I know we look at third house as another way, shape, or form of that, but second house is also on the cusp of that. But it influences this. It's your sense of self. Your sense of self is going to be undergoing a complete transformation. All right, get ready, because the person that you are now and the person that you've experienced up until this point, especially while foggy, hazy Neptune has been kind of all over the place, shuffling in that first house, it's done. It's done. It's clipped now. It's completely clipped. All right. Whatever you have been called, or whatever inclinations that you have been getting called to do, all right, for you. All right, because Neptune is in North Node is in Pisces, which means that this year and a half is completely focused on you. You need to get back to the root. Okay, and I'm not just talking about in the things that you do, but essentially who you are. I feel like already Pisces rising, feels this energy of being connected to something higher, but you're going to be feeling that even more with Neptune, like divinely guided, even trusting in your intuition to support your personal values and your goals, especially when it has to do with material things, and when it also has to do with just your overall goals, is going to be key for you. All right, now Neptune dissolves. All right, so any illusions, especially when it comes to material things or your value, the personal values that you hold in within yourself, are going to be coming to a close, especially if those things are not supporting you or going to be supporting you in this journey ahead. Okay, so there's things, especially if we're talking about material values, like Taurus, the third or second house rules these material values. If there's things around that don't really resonate with you anymore, for i.e. example, clothes, or some things that you have, things that you own that don't really resonate with you anymore, and you want to switch it up, maybe give those things away, maybe sell those things. Whatever you need to do, let it go. You might find yourself, especially with Saturn also coming in May, you might find yourself over that shorter transit with Neptune and Aries or Pisces, decluttering and maybe even allowing yourself to revitalize your wardrobe. I.e., for example, you're like, I don't really resonate with this thing anymore, so I'll give it away. Do something else. Come up with something else. Creativity. Also, all right, is going to be flying off the chart. Please take advantage. You're gonna be having Jupiter in Cancer in the middle of the year. Okay, in the summertime. You know what I'm saying? Uranus is gonna be in Gemini in July. Like, please take advantage of your creativity at this time. All right. And it's creative ideas that you might have. And this idea of materialism, which a lot of times with, Neptune or just Aries in the second house, you're not really focused. Your main focus is not necessarily materialism in itself, but or you're learning to know what it can do, especially in the guise of capitalism at the moment, that it can support you in your journey. Okay, so use your resources carefully at this time. All right, get a little bit more structured with yourself and get a little bit more structured with your internal world, but also leave room for growth, leave room for a little wiggle room. Okay, that's a little bit what I have for you, Pisces rising. For Aquarius rising, all right, this Neptune and Aries transit is going to be going through your third house. Okay, so this talks about your mental processes, all right? The third house is the Gemini house of communication, short distance travel. This has to do with your relatives, uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins. This has to do with the neighborhood that you live in. And short distance travel could be somewhere from your neighborhood to a whole nother neighborhood and across the way. You know, if you live in Houston and you're on one side, you're on the south side, and then you go, you know, to another, and you're still in Houston, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, there could feel, ooh, I'm sorry, ooh. Okay, communication, thank you. Anyway, all forms of communication, speaking, writing, traveling, cooking, gardening, whatever the case may be, all right? Dream traveling as well too. You can also experience that, Aquarius rising. But you might feel a little bit more dreamy at this time. If you feel called, you know, to create some form of artistic way, you know, this, especially with Pluto also transiting your first house, you're gonna have some really genius ideas coming to pass, Aquarius rising. There are going to be ideas that you have that you might say to people. You might say to people like, oh my God, I don't know why I had this idea to, I don't know, I'm thinking about this guy I've seen on TikTok, and he makes like gasoline out of plastic, you know, free gasoline, you know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that, you know. If you have some type of idea and you want to be your mad scientist self, please, mad genius, go ahead and get to work, all right? Because we need you, all right? We need you, and I just, deeper than us needing you in this time, I think it's only right that you speak up on your thoughts, your ideas, your beliefs. Don't feel shy about speaking on those things. Don't feel shy about speaking up about the ideas that you do have, or things that you know, or the downloads and things that are coming to you, you know, at this time. Also too, let's see, friendships, because third house also rules friendships as well. When it comes to this energy, or just the relationships, like the day-to-day relationships that you have with people, there could be a little confusion, all right? There could be a little, you know, kabakle going on and things like that. So if you could try to communicate as clear as you can, if you need some clarity on the things that you're speaking about, maybe take some time alone for yourself until you gain some clarity, because speech can feel a little, especially with Neptune transit in the third house, it can feel a little foggy, you know. It can feel like everything's not necessarily super duper clear, all right? So just keep that in mind. And also I want to say this, all right, Aquarius rising, if it feels like a cult, it probably is, okay? Especially with Pluto transiting your first house. It's going to be opposing that seventh house when it comes to intimate relationships and connections with people. So just make sure, all right? And if you're the ringleader of the group, we have words, all right? So that's what I have for you, Aquarius rising. A little something, like I said, there will be a longer video that I'm doing just for Neptune in Aries. We have Capricorn rising. Neptune will be transiting your fourth house. This is going to be a very, 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 very interesting time for you, Capricorn rising, okay, with this Neptune transiting your fourth house. Honestly, I'm not going to hold you. It could feel some paranormal activity going on down there. It could feel like some paranormal activity going on down there in that fourth house, okay? I feel like this is not only like paranormal things that you're seeing in your house. I'm pretty sure you see it already, and see things already. I'm trying to put this thing down. I don't know why it's not saying that. Paranormal activity, maybe even past life, because fourth house is roots. Fourth house is family, it's home, it's a relationship to the mother, you know, it's the lineage, the blood lineages and things like that. And I feel like with Neptune and Aries, I feel like there could be some past gifts coming back at this time that maybe, I'm not saying that you forgot about, but I'm not saying that you remembered either, okay? So there could be some past gifts coming back to you that maybe were like sitting on the back burner for a long time, and then all of a sudden you are having like these downloads. And I will say this, because this is also coming to me as well. With the times that we were going through, I know for a lot of us, we are going to be, because Neptune also has to do with escapism, right? It has to do with the silence. It has to do with like isolation and things, right? If you start to feel a lot of stress at this time, especially like psychologically, because Neptune usually, you know, has to do with like that subconscious and things going on in the back of the head. If you could find a healthy way to channel that creativity into something, and I say this, I'm gonna say this for everybody: create. Neptune is gonna allow us to create. If you want to escape, create. If you want to escape, create. You know, put it into something, whether it's the stroke of a brush, whether it's making some music, whether it's making some clothes, whether it's whatever it is, whether you want to cook something, you know what I'm saying? You want to get in your garden, whatever it is, put it into something, because if not, it could feel like, it could feel like, especially in the home set, because home is also not only like your physical home, but your internal, the things that are going on within you, the things that are bubbling up within you, okay? So I say this to say, if you can channel that or tune that energy into something, oh my goodness, I can only imagine what is going to come out of it, all right? What's going to come up from it, right? I think it'll be a good way to help you really deal with a lot of things that might seem a little confusing at the time, or might not be all the way clear, or just things that, this is a lot. I don't even know why. Like, I'm feeling so, feels heavy, like this fourth house for you. What's Capricorn rising? We good? Are we okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, are we okay, Cap rising? Because like, it feels very heavy talking about this. I don't know why. Yeah, hidden abilities, intuition a lot stronger, picking up on things, very sensitive at this time as well. This could be what it is. Like, just feeling very sensitive of your surroundings, your immediate surroundings and things. You might spend a lot of time at home during this transit, or just focus on catering to spending more time alone, or basically making your home your haven. I would just say with this transit, just try not to completely isolate yourself at this time, because you could feel like you want to kind of barricade, you know, a little bit. But, you know, yeah. I also think that there will be a new spiritual path that is going to be forged or forging for you. I don't know if you are into some type of study, or maybe there was a study that, if you find yourself being drawn to some type of spiritual teachings, or if you find yourself being drawn to some type of spiritual text or some type of spiritual ability. I don't know why I'm hearing like palm reading. I'm not really sure, because the hand is Gemini, so I'm not really sure why I'm getting that right now. But if you feel yourself like drawn to some type of like spiritual practice or ability, look deeper into those things. All right, and I'm gonna leave you with that. All right, longer videos on the way. All right, subscribe to that Substack below so you keep in touch. All right, cool. Okay, for Sagittarius rising, Neptune and Aries will be transiting your 5th house. Okay, what a beautiful, interesting house. All right, Sag rising, I feel like, especially when it comes to your creativity, you know, Leo is the 5th house. This has to do with creativity, creative projects. This can also do with pregnancy. This can also do with, we're gonna have to come back to the pregnancy, because I just got a crazy download from that. Like actual physical pregnancy, like a baby. Because I also think of pregnancy as, like I said, creativity or creative gifts. This has to do with like gambling. This has to do with romantic, like meet at the bar romantic kind of relationships, as I like to say. This has to do with animals, so larger animals, pets and things like that. You can see here And also it can deal with like some of the work that you do, especially creative work that you do here. So, and also expression. I feel like with Neptune in Aries, I'm getting hot just saying it. Like there's gonna be like this rock star lifestyle, will make it kind of energy going on here with Neptune in the 5th house, you know, like this it really feels like a complete renewal of the ways in which you've done some type of creative expression, you know? So for example, maybe I don't know why I just always gravitate towards the guitar, but maybe you played the guitar in the past, right? Just think of it like this. You played the guitar in the past, maybe you've strummed, you know, a little bit. My foot's falling asleep. Maybe you strummed the guitar, strummed the keys a little bit in the past. Now that Neptune moves into Aries, I mean, now you're playing full songs, you're learning new chords, you know what I mean? Speak your voice also as well too. You know, you're expressing yourself through these different things. Also, I'm thinking too, especially with Neptune in Aries and Saturn in Aries, because Aries rules the head. I would say Taurus is more so throat or whatever. This is like, for example, I don't know, this is somebody who's like making costume pieces, right? But like specifically like head pieces or something like that. And this is just an example. But you can see somebody who's making like these crazy, you know, headpiece costume type of things, you know what I'm saying? Or just because Neptune rules, or Aries rules the head, because Aries rules the head, like this is somebody who's spitting stuff like straight off the dome. Like you're getting downloads. I would say keep a notebook beside you. Keep some type of book, some type of notebook or something like that beside you. And anytime you get some type of creative idea to do something, immediately write it down. I don't even care if you don't even use it. But I will say, if you can, write it down. Because there's going to be just stuff literally flowing out of you. Now, I will say this too as well with Neptune here. You just want to be careful, okay? Be a little careful when it comes to, you know, because the 5th house is the house of fun, you know? So it's not to say that you can't have a good time. It's not to say that you can't have fun. It's not to say that you can't have a good time. And it's not to say that you can't have fun. But I will say that sometimes when Neptune comes here, you can find yourself maybe escaping, for example, and drinking a little bit more, you know? Or if you're not drinking a whole bunch, maybe you're going out and, you know, popping it 4P, you know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong. I can't tell you what to do. You know, I'm not telling you what to do with yourself and your body. That's your body, that's your business. But Neptune also rules diseases, all right? Transmitted diseases, if you're putting up what I'm putting down, all right? And also, things also getting confused, especially, you know, for the women out there, just saying, if you happen to get pregnant, you know, if you have a long night, one night, you know, you decide to do a little something. This is for men, you know, whoever too, and you doing a little something, and then you end up with a baby. All right, just saying. And now when Saturn is moving also into Aries, now you have the responsibility of a child. All right, so just saying that these are some of the things that can be happening. I'm also, for some reason, I don't know why this is coming to me right now, but something about orphans or orphanages. I'm not really sure if anybody resonates with that has a Sag rising. I'm not really sure why that's coming to me right now, but I'm hearing like orphanages or like somebody adopting a kid or having to take responsibility for a child. Because I always look at Aries, because it's the first, I look at it as like the first kid or the first baby or something like that. Something about a first baby, you know, or yeah, this is the first time you had a baby, something like that. So just, I mean, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with the kids. I love the kids. You know what I'm saying? Rainstorm, love the kids. You feel me? But if that's not something that you want to do, just keep a little extra eye out. You feel me? Hold on one second. Just keep a little extra eye out. All right? Just saying. That's all I'm saying. Not, like I said, not trying to police you or patrol you, but that is something that could be happening here. All right, so next. All right, for Scorpio rising, we have Neptune and Aries transiting that 6th house. All right, now Neptune and Aries in the 6th house. This, 6th house is the Virgo house. This is the day-to-day routines. This is the work that you're doing on a day-to-day. This is also your health and wellness. All right, mystery schools. All right, is right here with these Aries energy as well. Are being in the 6th house as well. This also has to do with smaller pets. Smaller pets also in this house as well. With Neptune and Aries here, you can find yourself with a creative spark, a huge creative spark as well. Channeling that fiery, passionate energy into creation. Okay, maybe you're starting to get into some type of spiritual practice that you take very seriously. Okay, maybe you are also, especially with Neptune here, you are changing the way, like the things that you're putting into your body at this time, because Aries has to do with the physical body, the physicality, your vitality and things like that. And so maybe to have more energy, because Neptune can be a little dreamy, it could be a little, and then Saturn is going to come there in May, so it could be a little dreamy. It could feel like, you're kind of going back and forth with your energy. One minute you could be feeling a lot of energy, the next minute you could feel a little like tired and things in your day-to-day. So maybe you could potentially use this energy to balance out, your day-to-day, I would say your day-to-day energy and vitality. All right. Now I will say this, Neptune, again, it can be a little confuddled. It can be a little confusing here in this energy. So if you're struggling, because Neptune has to do with addictions, it has to do with escapism as well too. So if you feel like on a day-to-day that you're kind of escaping and you don't really have any physical grounding, like I said, Saturn is going to help you, because I'm telling you, Saturn is going to make you feel, it's going to make you feel a little restricted in certain ways. There's going to be lessons to be learned while this energy is vacillating between Neptune and Aries and Saturn and Aries and stuff like that. So I would just say, if you can start now, you're going to get a little preview from now until October, what that's going to look like for you. But taking care of your physical body, getting that sun, think of all the things fiery for Aries. Aries needs something new. It needs things that are passionate. It needs things that make it feel alive. Sometimes it can be for the short thrill, but I would say experiment, experiment with things that you're passionate about, that you really love to do, that you really love to create, that and follow those intuitive hits. Neptune, like I said, it has to do with your intuition. Aries has to do with like the head. So you're going to be getting a lot of creative energy, and you're going to be getting a lot of creative downloads coming to your spirit. You also could feel a little restless with Neptune going through the 6th house as well too. Like I said, that's why I said really watch your energy, like what your energy is going towards. And if you feel like your energy is a little off and you trying to find balance in it, I would say it's your physicality. Ground your physical body. Working out, incorporating your spiritual side and finding a way to balance your spiritual practices with your, find a way to practice your spiritual practices as well as your physical practices as well here, all right? So, and then also to keep a journal, all right? Because you're going to have a lot of downloads. You're going to have a lot of stuff coming to you and things. So keep a journal, and I think that you'll start to notice when you journal, and not only just dream journal, if you have a dream journal, but also just journaling itself. I think it'll really help you with your own specific Aries head mental health as well too. If you start to kind of feel a little off balance with Neptunian energy, kind of like woo, things like that. Okay, so that's Scorpio rising. For Libra rising, Neptune and Aries is going to be moving through that 7th house. All right, yeah, together. Libra, oh man, it's going to be a doozy, okay, with this Neptunian energy. Now, let's start off with the good. Okay, the good news is, because like, what? The good news is that, especially with your energy opposing this Neptune in Aries, okay? Because it's going to be going through your 7th house. Your 7th house being the Libra house of romantic relationships, partnerships, contractual agreements, whether that's spiritual contractual agreements or that's physical contractual agreements, okay? Marriages is also here. Romantic relationships, like committed romantic relationships, is also here as well. This energy, okay, Neptune and Aries here could feel like your relationships, especially your close, intimate relationships, you might not really know where things stand between you and other people, okay? Oh, did I say I was going to start off with the good news first? I'm sorry, Libra, I'm sorry, Libra rising. I didn't mean to do that. Let's get this over with first, and then we'll get into the other part, all right? I would say this. You might not know, because Neptune can create like this confusion. You don't really know what's what. You like, well, I don't know. Do they really mess with me or not? You know what I'm saying? And then you already on Libra rising on top of that. So it's just like, you might feel like you're vacillating between, do your intimate connections actually resonate with you on a spiritual level, all right? And then when we have Saturn, the planet of restriction, also too, like, it kind of gives that chiseled maturity energy, goes into Aries in May, and also can cut quite sharp. There will be some cuts that are happening here with some relationships that you have that are not necessarily suitable for not only your physical growth, but also your spiritual growth, okay? If it does not resonate with your spirit, Libra rising, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If it feels shallow, if it feels like, and I know, when I say this, I know Libra rising can kind of get the rap a little bit for like the shallowness and things, but I'm gonna just say this. You're gonna want to feel something a little bit deeper, all right? You're gonna want to feel that fire, that passion, that's something that comes from the soul. We're all really craving that, for real. Everybody's craving like to want to feel something or to be connected to something. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, right, you might want to feel that within your relationships, and if you don't, those things could possibly be coming to a close, whether that's by your own doing, okay, or whether that's by the universe's doing as well. Also too, when it comes to contractual agreements with you or other people, whether that's a spiritual contract, all right, or a physical contract, all right, look over the fine print, okay? Look over the fine print, Libra, because, all right, there might be some things in that fine print, heavy on the spiritual contractual agreements, that you might not necessarily all the way agree with, all right? And speak up about those things, all right? Now, on the flip side of that energy, I will say this, all right, Libra rising, you will also probably meet people that are faded, right? You'll meet people that have like this kind of faded spiritual connection. This could even feel like a soul tribe energy, soul tribe vibes and things that can also be coming into your spirit as well here too. I would definitely say, I think at this time, especially while Neptune is going to be going into Aries, it's important for you, importante for you to really get clear on what your values are, especially when it comes to your personal relationships. The people that can get in, the 7th house is like your bubble, your inner circle. The people that you have a really intimate connection and relationship with. Get really clear of what those things look like for you. Sorry, y'all, my hair itching. Get really clear on what those things are for you, or what those, I would say, get really clear on what those things are for you, how you would describe the types of relationships that you want in your life, okay? The type of people that you want into your life. And not by the things that they have or the things that they can give you, but who they are at the core of their soul and spirit. Okay, Libra rising? I say that. And then once new people start coming into your life, it'll be easier for you to kind of discern that. Like I said, Neptune can still be a little tricky. There might be some messengers coming in the way, in and out, you know, but just know that those are some things that could be coming up for you at this time. Okay, Libra rising? Cool. For Virgo rising, you will be experiencing this energy in your 8th house. It is the Scorpio house. This has to do with other people's money. This has to do with inheritances, whether that's money inheritances or spiritual gift inheritances or things that were left, or just even people giving things to you. This has to do with intimacy. This has to do with sexuality. Okay? The emotional, hidden emotions inside yourself. Okay? So with this Aries energy transiting the 8th house, there could be this. Now I'm gonna say this. There could be this irritability that comes here because Aries energy is already a little impatient. You know, his energy can be a little bit irritable in itself, but the Neptune energy could feel like there's things bubbling up that have been beneath the surface for so long. And now Neptune is coming in there, you know, and doing this Neptunian thing of dissolving, you know, this energy within inside you, which then it's like one of these things here. I know we talk about Neptune as like this energy that is like foggy and Neptunian and things like that. But Saturn is going to be doing his dance as well too in May. So it's vacillating between like this, you know, self-expression and wanting you to like really get into that bag of expressing yourself and things. But then you could feel restricted. Like there's something in you that could feel like you're vacillating between the two. So you could feel your mood swings could kind of be going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, okay? There could be a lot of confusion when it comes to like joint resources. So if you're if you're sharing resources with somebody else, whether that's a partner, whether it's a romantic partner or it's a marital partner or just a partnership in general, especially when it comes to business, there could be some confusion as to who has this or who owns what, or this is mine or that is yours, and I would just say this, if you can, all right, make things very clear. And if you don't have clarity, you might want to sit those things out until you gain the clarity that you need. All right? Because I say this to say, because there's going to be things that come up that maybe you didn't see, because Neptune kind of like hides in the background a little bit, and then you're like, oh wait, I didn't necessarily catch that, or wait, I don't know, did I catch that? No, I didn't think I caught that, whatever. There could be a confusion of there'll also be a confusion of partnerships. All right, I'll say this, especially, and this doesn't apply for everybody, this is a general read. All right, because the 8th house has to do with intimacy, and it also has to do with sexuality. Neptune is kind of like subconscious and hidden and things here, and Aries is also in the mix as well. You know, when it comes to relationships and stuff, there might be some things in general that are not all the way clear. All right. And I'll say this, because Neptune also rules your intuition. If you're picking up on something, Virgo rising, you know for a fact though that something is off, it's probably because it is. And I'm going to just leave you with that. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to just leave you with that, all right? You will be exploring your spiritual depths, all right? Like I said, those inheritances coming through. So if maybe you had come from a lineage of seers, or you come from a lineage, you know, people who, I don't know, like I say, seers, like seeing abilities, being able to see or having premonitions and things like that. You could be going into that as well here too. You also have South Node transiting this house, which is where we're all collectively transiting South Node and Virgo. So there are things we talk about the South Node as things that you're letting go of. But there also is things that you're finding balance in as well here too. You know, so maybe the inner part of you that maybe you've always wanted to express your ways in or express yourself in a vulnerable way, but maybe you've held yourself back from doing so. So that rumbling, this rumbling that is happening within you is going to be necessary overall for your growth. So allow it to unfold, allow it to open you up in ways in which maybe you haven't previously before. For Leo rising, all right, Leo rising, you're going to be experiencing this Neptune and Aries transit in your 9th house. Have you thought about moving, Leo rising, to another place, maybe somewhere by water, you know, maybe taking a trip on a distant land, or because 9th house, well, first of all, let's talk about what 9th house, let's talk about what 9th house rules. It's the Sagittarius house. It has to do with higher education, higher learning. This has to do with trade. This has to do with long distance travel as well. This could be with publishing, writing, whatever the case may be. Even foreign languages, foreign foods, things like that, you know. Sagittarius wants to expand, okay? It also has to do with your beliefs, you know, your belief system and things. And also philosophy. So when we talk about the Neptunian energy coming into your 9th house, my hands are very hot, by the way. I'm not really sure what's going on. But like, it's like my hands are like charging up. I don't know. As I'm doing this, I'm like feeling my hands. I'm like, whoa. I'm sorry. So as this Neptunian energy is transiting through your 9th house, you could honestly feel like your spiritual beliefs that maybe you've held on to, or maybe you were held bent about at one period in time, are dissolving, you know, or there could be some things that are evolving as well. But I really feel like it's going to be leaning towards the side of like maybe some beliefs that you've held in from childhood, or some beliefs that you've held from the past. You're starting to be like, you know what, actually I kind of believe this now. Or maybe, you know, with this Neptune energy, maybe you're even diving deeper or going to school or taking a class about something that has to do with a spiritual gift, or some spiritual knowledge that you've always wanted to know about. So you're diving a little bit deeper into that. And you don't necessarily have to go to like an institution to learn this information. This can just be information that you're learning, whether you're even receiving downloads or reading a book. You're physically also practicing these things here too. I would say too, if you maybe wanted to solo travel, all right, because Aries has to do with like solo, lone, individual, the person. If you thought about going to a retreat, Neptune, like some type of spiritual retreat, Neptune, solo, or going to a place or visiting a place solo, you don't have to visit it solo, but you might, even if you don't go solo, you might like wander off and go into your own space. I would highly recommend it if you can. If you could spend some time, or take some time and spend some time either in water, in isolation, you know, or just having like a place or a sacred space where you're able to land, you know, and things. I think that would definitely be something that I definitely think that would be something that you would get. I feel like that would be something that you would gain a lot of healing from. And I think that Neptune is going to try to open you up to some things. I will say this too, when it comes to Neptune and Aries, especially when it has to do with like spiritual leaders and gurus and things like that, just be careful of like, you know, culty things here. All right, just saying, because if you move around a little, you know, previously before that, especially with Pluto transiting your 7th house in Aquarius, you know, there could be some like, hey, do you want to drink the Kool-Aid kind of energy going on. So just be careful with like who's who, you know, when it comes to like, you know, spiritual practices and beliefs and things like that. You don't want to be putting on no, you know, purple jackets and stuff and drinking Kool-Aid out of stuff that you don't know. So I'm gonna just keep it there. All right, leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think. We're gonna move on from here. So for Cancer rising, you will have this Neptune and Aries transiting your 10th house. You have a calling on your head, Cancer rising. And I know. Cancer be trying to hide. Cancer rising be trying to like, but I don't wanna like be on the front end. I don't wanna be on the front and center of it all. Okay? And if you disagree, oh well. But most of the time, especially when it comes to Cancer risings, Scorpio risings and Cancer risings, they kind of try to like retreat away from, you know, the spotlight, because the Scorpio rising has Leo in the 10th, Cancer rising has Aries in the 10th. But Aries rules the head, right? It's the face. You are the face. You know, people want to see you. People want to connect with you. You have a message to share and you have a message to give. You have a divine message, i.e. Neptune, okay, to share with the greater world. If you don't know what it is, if you've skipped to your part in Neptune and Aries in this video, Neptune has to do with the intuition. It has to do with the divine, the subconscious, right? This also has to do with escapism. This has to do with dreams. You know, it's ruled over Pisces. So just think of this Piscean energy going into the fiery, compassionate, pioneering energy of Aries. So I say this to say, with Neptune in the 10th house, and you having this energy placed on or transiting this you have this energy transiting this house for the next 14 years, you are going to be called to be a speaker of sorts, a leader of sorts. You know, people are going to be looking to you for healing in some way, shape, or form. Whether that's just for your words and the things that you speak, you know, whether it has to do with something about the head, you know. And I'm thinking of this as I'm saying this because, for example, it was something I read about a while ago when it has to do with people's experiences, or the things that when people share their experiences is what I'm getting. And basically what they were saying is, when people share their experiences and there's other people that relate or can relate to these experiences, like when we share our experiences out loud, it heals something in the brain. It heals something in the mind. It's like a link that happens, especially when we've realized that we're basically not the only ones that have experienced these things. So if you've been getting calling, Cancer, to share your experiences or maybe some of the things that you've been through, if you have a message that you need to share, I would advise you to find something to share those things, all right? Even if it's something creatively, even if you're not speaking and you're just letting the art talk, you feel me? If you're just letting the art talk and you just want to like put your art out there and you don't want to say nothing else, this is going to be that time to do so, okay, Cancer rising? So if you hear me, let me know what this is going to be, or let me know what this transit is going to be like for you. Definitely comment down below and let me know what you feel and what you think specifically for this transit. I would love to hear what you got to say. All right, Cancer? Okay, for Gemini rising. All right, Gemini rising, this Neptune in Aries is going to be transiting your 11th house. It's the Aquarius house of organizations, group associations, humanitarian pursuits. This also has to do with your friendships, collective group projects, and all those good things, all right? And I think I might have said, if I haven't already, organizations that you are associated with. The life path, right? Gemini, I feel like this is going to be a very interesting transit for you all together, I think, because, you know, Neptune has to do with vision. It's the visionary, right? And then you have Aries as the pioneer and Aries as this trailblazer, and kind of like, I'm going to do my thing no matter what, you know, regardless if people follow me or if people don't. And so for you, Gemini rising, I think this is going to be a transit for you that you might be meeting some really divine, now, two sides of the coin, all right? And I always want to, let me say this first and foremost, all right, before we get into anything. Beware of the cults, all right? Because why? We have, for you, Pluto is going to be transiting your 9th house, okay? All right? It's going to be transiting your 9th house, all right? So, you know, there could be some figures All right. It can go two ways. I'm just saying, if it feels like a cult, it's probably because it is. You know what I'm saying? If that's still a cup of tea, I'm just, you do what you do. But, you know, the ideology with Pluto and Aquarius, and then this energy with Neptune and Aries, it's like Neptune and Aries is like mystical, like, no, let's do it. Meanwhile, Pluto and Aquarius is in the background, like, okay, I got you right where I want you. So just, if it feels like a cult, it probably is. Okay? Other than that, on the other side of things, you could be working with some people or coming together with some people that have shared interests and ideas for the betterment and progression of the world. You know, you could be meeting some like really fated divine people who are going to, I would say, encourage you to speak, and speaking in many forms creatively, whether that's like you're just sharing your ideas or whatever the case may be, but sharing your ideas in some type of creative way or creative space to get your message across. You know, people need inspiration. People are looking for guidance. People are looking for, and not just people, also just like what you have on your heart, like what you have as a message in your heart that you want to share with the world, or whatever whatever the case may be. You know, you want to inspire in some kind of way people through the things, and people through the things of which is what you create, in which I can't talk, things that you are wanting to create. All right, so soul tribes forming, like minds forming, and things like that. I would just say with Neptune here, like I told Libra rising, get very clear, okay, Gemini rising, with the type of people that you want to be in communication and connection with at this time. And why do I say that, Gemini rising? Because Neptune is there. So it can feel like very dreamy. You don't know really what's going on. You're like, oh no, this seems pretty cool. But then you take the glasses off and you're like, what is this? All right, so get very clear as to the type of groups, organizations, associations, friendships, all those things that you want to be in and around at this time. Okay, in and around at this time. All right, what do my friends look like? You know, what do I want my friendships to be about? And what kind of people do I want around me at this time? You know, how do I want to show up in my friendships? Looking at yourself as well too. How do I show up in friendships and groups and organizations and associations and things? How do I look at my dreams and the things I want to do in this world and who I am in this world? What does that look like for me? You know? And I feel like once you get like a solid foundation of what that looks like, it'll be easy to point out everything else. All right, and you'll attract the people, you know, especially through your expression and your art. You'll attract the people that align with those things, those divine counterparts and things that kind of, you know, they gel with you, they mess with you and things, you know. So that is what I have for you, Gemini rising. We're gonna go ahead and conclude this. Like I said before, we're gonna do a longer video on Neptune and Aries that talks about what was happening previously in the transit of Neptune and Aries in the 1800s. And so definitely wanna check out for that. Definitely gonna be putting that out way before October. It's in the works. So you make sure you check that out. Link below for the Substack, yo. All right, if you want to stay in touch, I'm trying to post once a week at least, and hopefully live sessions at least once a week on Tuesdays. All right, so you already know what it is. It's a rainy storm, checking in, checking out without a doubt. Oh, also readings available as well too. But other than that,